Welcome to the Save Par Golf Podcast, where two average golfers talk about golf and things. I'm your host, Eric.
Dominic.
We're currently on episode 125, and we have a very special guest today. We have Jeremiah with Athalonz Golf. Athalonz has developed patented sports footwear technology to immediately help golfers improve athletic performance with more driving distance and better accuracy, with a design to add more stability to your swing. If you're not following them on Instagram, make sure to hit that follow button. Their handle is at Athalonz. That's Athalonz. Jeremiah, thanks so much for joining us on the podcast.
Hey guys, thanks so much for having us.
Absolutely, we're excited to learn kind of the history, the backstory behind Athalonz Golf. So if you want to maybe just kind of dive right into it, give us a little bit of a history lesson.
Sure, yeah. We actually started in baseball. The founder Tim, he attended a kind of a camp for adults, right? That was coached by major league coaches. And when he was there, people started finding out that he's a patent attorney. So people start. Anytime you say you're a patent attorney, people just bring all of your ideas. Everybody's got an idea they've been waiting on, right? And it's gonna be the next big thing of something. And some of the coaches that were there started bringing this idea about all the best players that they've coached. Their weight is more on the inside of their body. Right. So the weight's more on the inside of the knees. Their knee doesn't really travel outside, creating that compensation of like trying to bring everything back. Everything's kind of like locked and loaded already. And the way pitchers are on that rosin bag kind of gives them that physics advantage. And, they were thinking like, hey, is there a way that we can make, kind of a peripheral kind of thing, we could attach to shoes? And he was saying, I think we can do better than that. I think we can put it in shoes. Right. It's going to take some R&D to kind of figure that out. But I think we can put it in shoes. And so it took a long time. I mean, you can make an iPhone faster than you can make a new shoe model, So it took about 3 years to really get it perfected. It was a lot of cutting up insoles, at different widths and laminating them together to create the slopes and wear testing the heck out of it. And that process took like 3 years, and we finally came across something that actually really worked. Right. And, we started making baseball shoes. They started becoming popular. We made a softball turf shoe, and more people started buying them for golf than for softball. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. We always knew that this technology worked in golf, it worked in tennis, it works in all these rotational sports, pickleball, even boxing. It works great for. And then when people started naturally adapting it, golf first, we're like, yeah, this is obviously where we need to get into. It was really our passion, but we had like really good connections in baseball with even the baseball coaches kind of bringing us this idea.
Sure.
And then now we're 95% golf. It's like completely done the 180. Yeah.
How long ago was that when you started the baseball patent for the shoe?
Yeah, that was about 8 years ago when we really kind of came on with our first metal cleat. Yeah, it was 8 years ago, and then about 4 years ago or so we came out. It was 2019 when we came out with the golf shoe. Yeah.
Very cool. So has it been Athalonz 8 years ago as well, or was that a different brand with the baseball shoe?
Yeah, no, it was Athalonz then. Yeah.
Okay.
The very first kind of marketing company that we got hooked up with, it was kind of expensive, big deal law firm or marketing firm out of New York, right? And
Sure.
That's basically all we got out of them was the name Athalonz. It's kind of a hybrid between athlete, decathlon, kind of like jack of all trades, athletic shoe kind of thing is like what they kind of came up with. Yeah, but it ends up being hard to pronounce and hard to spell and all that fun stuff. So
that's so interesting. Dom, if you want to, we're obviously going to talk about some of the other shoes that you have, but
Well, what was the first shoe that you guys released?
The first shoe was a metal baseball cleat. That was the first shoe. Yeah. And then we came out with a turf shoe, and then a molded cleat a little bit after that. And we came out with like a second generation of all three of those. And then that's when we were kind of like at about the same time we started, creating the golf shoe.
Okay. So you guys have a few golf shoes in your lineup. Which one was the first one to come about?
Yeah, the Envy, so ENVE stands for energy and velocity. That was the first one. The white and tan one was actually the very first one.
Okay.
And that's what all the long drivers started using. And we created the shoe. I don't even think we had long drive in mind, right? But it worked so well that they all started using it. We had a long driver that kind of worked with us in development of the shoe, and he was a PGA coach here as well, and so he helped with the development of it. And he went down. I think he was injured, so he couldn't go to the event here and in the Phoenix area. But he knew a lot of the guys, right? And
Yep.
And he was like, hey, maybe try this out. Like he just happened to have one of the contestants' shoe sizes. He's like, hey, give us one to try. Took a few swings. He's like, holy cow! Like, yeah, this really works. And he's like, I'm not giving this back. So
Keeping them.
And that long drive professional was Ryan Steenberg, and he had been doing a long drive for quite a while, several years. He had placed like third, and he'd always do pretty well, but never won an event. And that first event he wore our shoes, he won that event. And and then the very next event, it was like 3 weeks, a month later, he won that event too. And people are going like, what the heck's up, And
not in the driver, it's the shoes, right?
Yeah, and that's the only equipment change that he had. Yeah. That was the only equipment change that he had. And people started asking like, yeah, what did you change? Like driver equipment's set up, because when they do the in the bag kind of stuff, they never talk about the shoes being part of equipment, but we view them as equipment. He's like, I honestly only changed my shoes. That's it. Right. And so then Justin James, Kyle Berkshire, like you had to wear shoes because you had to get that competitive advantage. So that's kind of how we exploded in the long drive space. Yeah.
It's funny because we were talking earlier.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm pretty sure long drive guys wear these.
Yeah,
and Derek's looking on the website. It's like, I don't see anybody long drive. I'm like, I think I've seen long drive something or another wearing these.
And with that one you have in your hand, they're starting to wear those ones now too, right? And like the very first World Long Drive event this year was in Huntington Beach a few weeks ago. And in that, we had 4 athletes in it wearing our shoes, and we took first, second, third, and 5th. Wow. That was about as dominant as you can be, right?
Yeah,
so
for real.
That was really fun to watch. So, and in crazy conditions, it was like they had headwinds and rain, and it was gnarly out there. But we weren't slipping, and we were winning, so it worked out well.
Really cool.
And I was like, I knew there's a long drive affiliation.
I was just looking at the athletes, which we can talk about down the road. But yeah, he had mentioned that, and I was like, I don't see anything on the athletes. But it's funny that you mentioned that, because
I don't know where I saw that.
Probably on Instagram.
Probably,
probably. Yeah, there's quite a few wearing it, and it's one of those things that they wear because it works, right? So, and it's one of those things when you get into it and you start feeling the advantages of it, and you take them off and you wear something else, and the numbers aren't there, and it's like, okay, I need those back. It becomes even more powerful then when you end up losing the advantage. It's right. We have a plate that we take to like demo days and that kind of thing, and this plate has engraved in it our slopes, right? So you can just walk up with whatever shoe you're wearing and feel our technology in the shoes. You can feel those slopes working, and you take a couple little swings, mock swings, and get off of it, and then you start feeling yourself sway all over the place. And so it's like when they feel the instability, that's way more powerful than like the stability gain. It's an interesting kind of social experiment there.
Pretty soon they're gonna have like TrackMans for golf shoes instead of that, for the the swing and the, like you said, what's in the bag. It's the technology of the clubs, right? But that's not always the case.
Yeah, it's really interesting. We've had guys like break out the TrackMan. They're like, oh, something feels better, something feels different. Larry Mize did that, where we handed him some shoes. We were just at an event here, a Champions Tour event, and we were with Bernhard, and Larry Mize was kind of like right next to him there. And he was like, oh, yeah, that sounds interesting. I wouldn't mind trying that. I was like, hey, well, I have every size on me, so let's just try it out. And he put them on, hit a few balls, and he's like, huh. He's like, looking at his feet, he's like, that really works, and he called his coach over. He's like, am I seeing this right? And they broke out the track band and like, wow, like this actually works. So it's fun to have something that gives you the instant physics advantage,
Sure.
But yeah, as you mentioned, yeah, we do have the Mangrove Pro.
Yep.
If I did say it correctly.
Yeah.
I gave Derek a shoe so he didn't feel left out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad.
Appreciate that. So the kind of idea behind that is, it's one of those shoes that you can wear on the course. You can wear it to dinner afterwards. I've technically been wearing the prototype to that every single day since September. And
really?
Yeah, and you can't even tell, that I've beaten the heck out of it. I've done many hikes with them. They've been covered in mud, but that waterproofing process on that leather, everything just kind of like falls right off of it. So
yeah, my favorite part is actually the traction. Like is, I mean, obviously if you guys are watching the video, you see it. If you don't see it, this is like the most grip I've seen on a golf shoe, I think, ever.
Yeah.
Like this is,
and that kind of comes from, we work with the long drive guys, to kind of be that extreme example. We build it so they don't slip, right? I was just telling you, we got first, second, third, and fifth, and it was raining, right? And everybody else was slipping and we weren't. So it's kind of an extreme case, R&D, and that it results in that where you're not slipping. Like, I don't care how crazy you get, right? But the thing is we call that the grip and glide. So it restricts the external rotation of the foot, but allows you to move internally when you want to move. So you're not just like locked in the whole time.
Sure. I know you talked about the NV technology. Can you kind of tell us about that patent and like the benefits for golfers if they're wearing, that shoe?
Yeah. So the patent, I mean, we have 18 utility patents right now and a couple still pending. Most of that is on the slopes in the shoe. So you have a lateral to medial slope, and then you have a medial to big toe slope. And it's not just a simple wedge, right? There's a bunch of tiny little manipulations in it. So what we do is, that brings all those force vectors on the inside of the legs, and you get about 9% more ground reaction force out of it. And then kind of what happened in baseball is that when all that weight was inside and you're always locked and loaded, and it helped increase timing. Well, in golf, that really helps reduce sway by centering all that weight into the center. So you just don't sway out the ball. So you're much more consistent. So we see, the hit dispersion narrow, the distance, gains. I've seen anywhere from like 3 yards to 32 yards. So, it just depends on your biomechanics and how well you can use that energy that travels up through the body, right? So the results vary, but
per person, but it's still adding some sort of distance and giving
level.
Yeah, that's very.
And I might make the PGA now.
Yeah, exactly. Here comes
it's not magic.
School.
It's not magic, but it does work.
So to say, does it come with a guarantee of a 300-yard drive every time we tee up?
We guarantee that you will see an improvement. That's for sure, right? It's a physics advantage. It works for everybody. It works on every shot. Even one of the Corn Ferry Tour guys wore it, and I was like, what's your feedback? He's like, they're great. He's like, I really liked the stability and the weight centering when I was putting. Like I felt no shifting. I was like, it helps there too, right? But everyone's, they want the sexy long drive numbers and all that kind of stuff. But these guys that are putting for dough, they're like, it helps here too. So it's pretty cool to hear that.
Did you have like a target like demographic as far as golfers when you first were launching these golf shoes? Because obviously you're talking about the long drive guys really kind of took, they're winning. Was there like a certain specific golfer that you were targeting?
They were the early adopters, right? But we just wanted to help the average golfer, right?
Sure.
There's so many things to think about in the golf swing out there, that we wanted to take care of your foundation first and just gives you one less thing to really think about, So yeah, it was the average golfer for sure. Yeah.
I will say, like, I work in the running industry, so I work with a lot of different brands, and a lot of them focus, on neutral stability, whatever the gait.
I've heard you say that before. Yeah.
This is pretty much the most supportive and structured golf shoe I've ever stood in or walked around in. So even though I didn't play, I still ripped around my front yard a little bit in them.
Heck yeah.
Kind of, wanted to get a feel for them.
Sure.
Yeah. And
Feel
you
very
feel it immediately.
stable.
As soon as you put them on, in the house, like you feel it immediately. Yeah, you don't necessarily need to go play in them to feel it. So you get a
Oh no, but I still wanted to rip around my yard, be like,
Oh yeah,
haha,
yeah.
look at me. Um, I mean, like we've been talking, like my only real complaints is I wish mine are just like a touch bigger.
Right. Yeah.
That's just my feet though. It
We
is
went
what it
down
is.
that size for you, and yeah, we probably should have stayed true to size. Yeah.
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 I love the traction. I love the smell of them, which is weird. Like
No,
the leather.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm right there with you. That leather is extremely high end, right? That leather is used on $830 shoes and up.
Did you just sniff my shoe?
Hey, so you like
Yeah.
the leather? So I smelled
Good, it smells
smelled the
great.
leather.
It smells great. Yeah.
I didn't smell like inside. I was smelling right here.
Even mine that are 6 months old now, like still smell good. It's kind of crazy. But yeah, it's a very, very high end Italian leather, and then it goes through a 2-month waterproofing process, and it maintains that buttery feel that you just don't feel in other shoes.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the more unique golf shoes I've ever seen that is leather. I really like the weird neoprene booty
Yeah,
that they
yeah,
have at the heel and then at the tongue. Um, and then I just like the loose leather at the heel. I think it's such like a
there's a lot of
classy but
little
like
subtleties
futuristic
to it.
looking shoe at the same time.
Right. Yeah. So I really wanted to do that kind of detached collar, and this is something you never see, right? But it's a cool touch. It's a manufacturing nightmare. I'll tell you that much. But
I imagine.
but you kind of have to create two shoes in one almost to kind of pull
Sure.
that off. But I definitely wanted that kind of free floating kind of feel and look to it. So with that kind of raw edge to the leather, really appealed to
Yeah,
me.
and like I was telling Derek, I appreciate that these have a removable insole as well for people who do wear
Yeah.
like orthotics or whatever. And then you even said it on, I believe, the website. It's like, are the insoles removable? And it said yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Um, I think that's really cool. To me, it's one of the more, like, I can't think of the word, but like inviting shoes for everybody to wear, where it's like, if you have orthotics, cool, we got you. They'll go in here. You have a wider foot, cool. They fit wider.
Yeah.
You struggle with
Yeah,
stability, cool.
They work really well with orthotics. They actually have a little bit more, toe box height to them too. So if you have a little bit thicker orthotic, then you're totally good to go. And our technology, our patents are built into the midsole of the shoe, right? So you're taking out the insole, it doesn't remove any of the benefits. A lot of people think, oh, it's an insole thing that it gives you those gains. And we do have other insoles that have different pitches to them, but that's just kind of fine tuning what's already kind of on in the midsole.
Did you put it on?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
Yeah, it's very comfortable. I was going to ask, I love, we were talking about the leather, and I think, like you said, it's very high end leather, but I do like the classic look to it with like this popping blue sole. Can you talk a little bit about the sole and kind of just like the material? Because it's
made out of recycled stuff, right? I don't know.
Yeah. So it's 85% upcycled material, and it comes from, I'm not sure if I can say who they come from, but it's a very high end performance shoe.
Okay.
And we take the trimmings, and grind that up, and then put it into our molds, and then fill it with a resin, and that resin gives it's our way of tuning it, right? So that resin can give it more rebound. So it gives it more balance, it gives it more durability, and it gives it that cool blue color. But we can change that color. So
are we wearing are these like Gucci? Like, is that what you're saying? Like,
no, it's a performance. Yeah, I don't know if Gucci's.
Oh, got it.
Oh, performance
Gucci. Yeah.
All those little white chunks you see in there, that's what that is. And then the blue is the resin that we add to it. And then we wrap it in kind of a TPU shell, and there you go. So it's kind of a cool little mix between, upscale, classy, with kind of sport twist, which is kind of where the mangrove name came from. So like the mangrove tree can grow in saltwater environments, and it can thrive in freshwater environments. So it's kind of, that kind of duality of like it works well in both environments. Yeah.
Yeah, I sent pictures of these to a couple people we've had on that I thought would enjoy the look of them. And they're asking me, like, is that Boost? Is it whatever? I'm like, I don't I don't know what it is. It's definitely something.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Could be, yeah. Could be a little bit of everything in there.
Could be, yeah.
Like feedback from like people who don't know what they are, it's really positive, which is really hard to get in the golf world.
Yeah, and even that rubber outsole, we found the best one we could find, right? The one that's going to be nice and really dense, right? So it's long lasting and it's tacky too, right? So a lot of times you'll get it where it feels slick, and then you get on from dewy grass to concrete and slippery. So we didn't want that. So we also want it to be really resilient. And like I said, I've been wearing mine every single day for at least 6 months, 7 months, and you can't even tell. Like, they're not even worn down a bit.
Sure.
I think every golf shoe needs this. Like this tread. I mean, this is unreal.
That needs to come talk to me, golf people. So
well, I mean, for how many years was a golf shoe with spikes? For
forever until very recently. Yeah.
Well, and if you talk to guys who like review like basketball shoes, everybody's favorite traction to this day is still the Jordan 1. Because the big radial, you can cut, you can do whatever, and then herringbone is also very popular.
Is still king,
because it's multi-directional. Yep. That's exactly what this is, right? Multi-directional.
Yeah, you can see kind of that little pivot point there on the ball of foot, and then it's like a concentric circle of traction around that. Yeah.
So out of curiosity, sorry, let me take your thunder here real quick, Don, but like
you already took the thunder.
Tim, as a patent lawyer, did he have any because you guys have obviously have a well thought, this shoe itself has got a lot of thought into it, and a lot of trial and error and all that.
You can see the effort.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So did he have any expertise in that, coming up with this? Because again, it's all kind of, you came up with this shoe not only to look nice, but it was to enhance and improve golfers, their game.
I always say it's kind of easy to make a good looking shoe, right? The template's out there. It's pretty simple, right? Yeah. And but we really wanted to create a function first shoe, and then craft around it to make it look aesthetically pleasing at the same time, which is a much harder kind of endeavor, right? So
I'd imagine, yeah.
Yeah, Tim didn't have any expertise in that. I was always a sneakerhead. I trained athletes before doing this, so I kind of had the biomechanics side down on that. He's a physicist, patent attorney, mathematical wizard, right? Sure. We also work with podiatrists and other sports scientists, and so we had kind of a great team, to really kind of create this. So it was kind of the perfect storm.
That's so cool. How long did this shoe take from start to finish to actually get it in, from production to selling it to consumers?
Long time, right? Really? So that was something, because we actually moved manufacturing too. So we were in South Korea, and during the COVID pandemic, we were like everybody, it was really hard to get raw materials, so say there's 91 components to that shoe. It's like, well, you got 91 different sources. We got to try and get all these raw materials from, and it's just an absolute nightmare. And then to add a layer to that, they're actually sewn in Vietnam. So it was like, then there was like logistics of getting it sewn in Vietnam and then assembled in South Korea, and then trying to get a cargo ship or a container over here. It was a nightmare. And, we're America first kind of people. And we were like, we really want to move this stateside. Right. And there's nowhere to get it done. There's just not. If we want to make cowboy boots, we could do that tomorrow, but there's nowhere to get an athletic shoe made here. So we had to partner up with a couple companies, and ended up being fantastic partners. And now they're made in the USA. So it took a long time. It took 2.5 years or so to really get that.
When you say 91,
we should make golf cowboy boots.
I was gonna say that too. Like, there we go, cowboy golf boots.
Yeah, like there's definitely hell yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, golf's growing so crazy right now.
That, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I like it. I like it.
It fascinates me that you talk about there's 91 different components in this, but when you look at a shoe, you think there's leather, there's some, there really isn't a lot of components. So that is
funny, because when I'm having a bad day at work, I'm selling mesh, foam, and rubber. That's all I'm doing today. Mesh, foam, and rubber.
Yeah. But it is fascinating that all that it comes together in one shoe, and you don't think about the
little things.
The little things in like the manufacturing side. We've had numerous apparel companies, shoe companies, and same thing. Manufacturing side is always obviously really expensive. Sampling is very expensive. Sometimes you get a big bulk order of a certain product that you really like, and then you try to place another order, and the material might be a little bit different, and so there's quality. But
I will say this is the one I am probably most impressed with. Getting them, like obviously reading them online, I'm like, okay, they're probably pretty nice, right? Like, into sneakers, you're into sneakers. You and I both know how inflated the sneaker market can be. So when I saw the price, I was like, yeah, they better be nice.
Yeah. Yeah, we have horrific margins. So they're not inflated at all. I mean, those suckers should be $450, honestly, right? Sure. But and made in America, right? I mean, just labor alone is 5x what it used to be in South Korea. So a lot of that factors into that. But I mean, the materials that's made out of is more expensive than most shoes are to manufacture, right? So
really,
yeah.
It makes me feel bad because I walked in wearing a $150 pair of shoes. And I can guarantee you they're like probably a quarter as nice as these. Yeah. And like I hate it because like I love those shoes. I'm not going to say the name because they're a company that I work with a lot. But
sure. Yeah.
Like, but like when you compare it to something like this, the leather's great, the rubber. Honestly, I feel like I could probably like run through the snow in these and be okay.
Yeah, I've done hikes in the snow. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. Oh, not like we have snow though.
We'll test it out for you and let you know.
Well, this is in Colorado, so it's pretty serious.
Oh, okay, yeah,
pretty serious.
That makes sense. So, talking about pricing, and obviously, like golf in general is not cheap, right? You're talking about the shoe itself, not necessarily like cheap, but it's not like it's crazy.
It's not cheap, but I don't think it's out of the realm of like being worth it.
Right. So I'm just kind of curious, like, are you selling them direct to consumer, just like through like Instagram, social media, or do you guys like sell to like a Dick's Sporting Goods, like any? Do you plan on going that direction? What's the future for Athalonz as far as golf shoes?
Yeah, our older models are sold in Dick's and Golf Galaxy and
sure.
Golf Town up in Canada and like some great retail partners. But with that shoe, when I was saying that we have horrible margins, I wasn't lying. Okay. So there's no room for retailers with that one.
Really. Gotcha.
We're direct to consumer right now, and then all the typical marketing chains. Right?
Yeah, I mean, social media is such a powerful tool right now too. I feel like it's almost more beneficial for companies, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's tough though with kind of the education that kind of we need to lead with. Right, because we're not just another kind of Me Too shoe on the shelf. Like we actually we're very different. So it's tough to tell that story on social media. It's like people just don't have the attention span to be taught anything, right? So there's a bit of a challenge with that.
Yeah,
and as you can attest to, they actually look better in person too. So like the pictures don't even really do it justice.
They do in pictures, and even maybe on the video. This blue is like crazy. In person, it's like a very nice contrast. Right. It's hard to explain.
Yeah,
like
it looks radioactive in pictures, right?
This blue is like a vibrant blue.
It's a beautiful look.
That was really a happy accident too. That wasn't supposed to be blue, and then we got a sample that was that, and I'm like, oh, I really like this. So
we got something.
Happy accident. Yeah,
kind of goes to like what you said earlier. Like you wanted to focus on the technology and actually be beneficial, and then we'll worry about the actual look of it kind of after the fact.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. As far as like social media and all that, are you doing like going to different like golf events to try to like actually get people in the shoes rather than just on social media? Because like you said, sometimes it's hard to really get golfers familiar with the product just through social media.
Do you want to come to Minnesota?
Yeah, we're gonna have an event here in Minnesota in July.
Yeah, especially now it's thawed out, right? I'll come up there, no problem. We used to do a lot around the country, and then pre-pandemic, right? And then we're starting to open that up a little bit. We're doing a lot of it here locally, right? We're in the Phoenix, Scottsdale kind of area, and I think there's 180 golf courses just in the Phoenix metro area, 300 in the state. So there's a lot to kind of get to just in our backyard. So we're kind of doing that, and then the Palm Springs, Southern California kind of area too. But we're branching out now. So yeah, we want everybody to get that biofeedback.
You're in a good spot for promoting golf shoes as far as in a golf state or golf area. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So we kind of mentioned it earlier. You have several athletes. Fred Funk is one.
What a name.
You and Kim. Right. Yeah. So it's both female, male, which is very cool. Collegiate golfers, professional golfers. Bernhard Langer, who's a fan favorite for a lot of. Yeah. Can you just kind of tell us a little bit about the process of how it is to either get somebody on board with the shoes, and do you plan on, you
want to sponsor a podcast, stuff and cover?
Right.
Yeah. A couple amateur golfers.
With the Bernhard one, I can speak to that first.
Amateur than me.
I'm the one that actually gave them to him, so I found out his shoe size. They were here at the Schwab Cup, which is local right in Phoenix. And so I literally jumped in front of his golf cart when he was going out to go practice. He's heading to the range. And so I jumped out in front of his cart, almost ran me over, looked kind of annoyed, right? I was like, hey, I found your shoe size. He's like, try these on. This is the last event of the season, so try them on in the off season. My card's in there. Let me know, once you get a chance to try them on, or, what you think. And so about like a month and a half later, he calls me up and he's like, hey, I've been testing these out with, he was with Adidas. He's been testing out with Adidas and, and two other companies. And hit 12 balls in those, 12 balls in those, 12 balls in those, 12 balls in yours. And then I'm just making better contact with your shoes every time. He's like, why is that? I didn't have time to go through the whole spiel and like how they work, right? And so I gave him the spiel, and he's like, yeah, that confirms kind of what I was feeling. And he's a smart guy. He got it real quick, and so he's been with us ever since.
That's
and
so
he
cool.
statistically got better at 61 when he switched to our shoes. And so who gets better at 61, right? Like,
we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah. He's like the Tiger Woods of the old guys.
But he was on the Masters, he's a two.
Yeah.
Two-time.
I mean, he's been really good, but obviously, like you said, he's getting better as an older golfer. Like that, normally it's the other way around, right?
It's usually a steep decline at 60.
Exactly.
Right? He's actually gotten better.
He's actually gaining yardage off the tee.
Yeah, gaining yardage and that hit dispersion too. He was always very accurate, but he was just even more pinpoint accurate. So yeah.
That is so cool. So we'd mentioned you have some of the collegiate golfers as well. Is that something that you guys are trying to target? I know going back to the social media side of thing, there's there's a huge demographic in the YouTubers and those kind of things. Are you trying to kind of eventually branch out to do, get some of the up and coming YouTubers? And
it's interesting on what like really works for us, right? Some things you would think would do great, and it's just like there's just no ROI. You're like, well, I didn't see that coming, but the YouTube route has worked really well. All the YouTube coaches out there, they have a devoted following. People are actively on there looking to get better, right? Like, how do I fix this? How do I do this? And so when they come across a YouTube coach that's wearing our shoes for a reason because they work, and that ends up doing really, really well. So, 20 times better than any social media influencer, right? So, it's interesting. I'm glad we found that channel, but yeah, it works really well.
Yeah. Do you have any like models that you guys are going to be releasing in the near future?
Yeah. So, like I was saying, we moved everything to the US. Now that we kind of got our feet wet, we're optimizing some stuff in production, even with the shoe you have there. And we're also in development of 3 other styles. So that's pretty exciting stuff. The NV2 is in the works. So yeah, that's pretty exciting. I actually have a prototype here. Can I do a little sneak peek on that guy?
I like that a lot.
That heel is killer.
Yeah, it's really cool. And as far as like, literally just got this, right? This is a first prototype, and they're usually rough, and they're like barely look like what they're supposed to look like. This one came out kind of decent. The final product is going to be way better than this, but this is already looking pretty good, I think. So yeah, super excited about that guy.
What's the name of that one, or what it's going to be called? I didn't hear.
Right, that's the NV2.
NV2. Okay.
So our original
heel is New Balance had the 860 a few years ago, that big old ultra heel whale tail thing.
Yeah.
My favorite shoe. And then old people hated it. So New Balance got rid of. And I was like, you guys ruined everything. I'm a big fan of ultra heels. I am a huge fan of ultra heels. I don't know if that's what you guys call them, but that's what we call them in the running industry, is an ultra heel. So
yeah, ultra heel. This is probably going to get moved down a couple millimeters, but virtually kind of, what you see is what you're going to get.
You're going to keep the hole in there for like
So this is kind of an integrated little loop.
That.
It's going to be cleaned up, right? This is the rough draft of it.
Looks awesome for a rough draft.
Yeah, we're stoked on where it's at now, and it's just going to get better and better. Some cool kind of Kager's triangle pillows in there, keep you nice and secure. So yeah.
As far as weight goes, is it going to be kind of similar weight to this one here that we're showing in the video?
These are a little heavy, but I like how planted I feel in them, so I'd give up weight for stability.
Yeah, for
all
sure.
That weight is from that rubber outsole. So it's like
these are thick little giblets.
Yeah.
Those bottom loaded weight. And like I said, there's no air in that sucker, right? And that rubber. So it's really dense. So it ends up being heavy.
That makes sense.
And so we're working on ways to kind of thin out that webbing and maybe, take some weight out. This is already lighter than that one is.
Okay. Because just off the look of that one, it did look a little bit like it would be a little bit lighter.
Layers to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But seriously, if you take off this outsole, it's like air. It's like super lightweight. This midsole super light. Everything's pretty light except for that guy.
Which again, like you said, it makes sense.
It's super durable. Yeah.
Well, I don't mind if the shoe's heavy if it serves purpose, right?
Yeah.
Like I do feel planted in them. When I was ripping around my front yard, I felt like I could like step on everything. And then when I literally like ran around in circles. And I had to avoid all the dog poop.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. I looked wild because I had my cut off Zubas on because they're too long.
Bringing the Zubas back. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
does it look all right?
It's interesting the way that we kind of created the gait of the midsole and everything. It doesn't feel heavy when you put it on, right? So in hand, you're like, oh, there's some heft to it. There's a little bit of weight to it. But when you put it on, it feels pretty natural. It feels like you said.
You're not like when you're wearing, you're not feeling like these things are like lugging around.
No, they're really comfortable.
They're not clunky at all. Yeah.
I love the look. Yeah, no, it's very cool.
I just keep smelling them.
Yeah, I know. I've just been holding on to it the whole time.
It's kind of intoxicating. Yeah, it's a great smell.
We need just a candle.
But
that's your guys' next venture, a candle that looks just like this, and then you can put the little wick up top.
That's actually a really cool idea. Yeah,
you're welcome.
That. Yeah. That's kind of what we do on the podcast. We're in all sorts of royalties right now, right?
Right? Yeah. This is like a what if podcast. What if you did this? What if you did that? I like it.
Yeah. What are some of your guys' future goals? I know you're talking about releasing that new shoe. You're now in the USA as far as manufacturer side, but what are some of your future goals in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, really, for us, I kind of like the acronym of FOCUS, right? So find one course until success. So I really want to do that. I want to optimize this golf shoe game, as much as we can. And before I even think about going into other, pickleball or tennis or whatever, right? So we're really dedicated into golf, and that model, next 3 coming out, some cool fun colorways, editions of that one. So yeah, we're really focused on golf right now.
That's a great answer. I usually ask this for every company. If there's like one piece of advice that you could give to any person or entrepreneur that's looking to start a company, what's a piece of advice that you would share with them?
Don't get into it if you want free time. That doesn't happen, right? And with shoes particularly, it's a high barrier to entry, right? It's a super expensive to make molds and all that kind of stuff. It's an investment, and it's scary, and it's and it's exciting. It's all of that. So just literally bust your butt and keep going. You're going to hit bumps in the road. That's the entrepreneur journey, right? I don't know if you ever seen that I've seen a T-shirt. I've seen, just viral posts of like the entrepreneur roller coaster of like, oh, this is great. I can't imagine doing anything else. And then the next minute it's like, oh my God, everything's going to hell. Like we're over.
Everything's
we're
on fire.
Yeah, exactly. So just write it out, man. The strong ones survive.
I like that. Is there anything else that you might want to add or that you might want to ask that we can think of as far as covering the shoes? I feel like we've done a pretty good job of kind of laying out the technology.
We should probably talk about the sizing. People could go a half size down, or you're saying a full size down. I have weird feet, so I would prefer my normal size.
Yeah.
But if you're interested, like I wear an 11. This is 10.5. It fits. It's just like my foot shape's a little goofy, so like my toe rubs. But like I could definitely
we could trim your toes down a little bit if you want.
Fuck it. I'll do it. But yeah, I mean the sizing is great, the quality is great. I don't really have any complaints.
No, I would say sizing, 90% of people going down a half size on that one works out great. It really does. Some people
I'm the weird
small 10%.
Yeah, there's outliers and everything, right?
You're welcome.
And in our optimizing process, we're trying to get them to be more true to size, right? Sure. So there's little kind of things that we can do to help adjust to make it more true to size. And we're working on that, but as they currently are, it's definitely a half size large. So yeah.
I just have weird, or maybe I don't know my shoe size. That's a lie. I have too many shoes to not know my shoe
size. I doubt that. I'm sure you know. Yeah.
We're going to take too much of your time. We're just going to ask a couple rapid fire questions and we'll be on our way. So the first question, as far as rapid fire questions, is what is your favorite shoe that you offer?
I mean, right now it's that guy, right? There's a labor of love for a long time. Make them in America, by people that are craftsmen. I mean, that sucker is hand lasted. There's not a lot of people left on the planet that hand last. It's literally a guy with a hammer and nails in his teeth and going to town on it and pliers to get that sucker tight. And that's just what that high quality leather needs. So yeah, it's a labor of love. It really is. So
I watched a guy on Instagram do that, but he built a pair of Air Jordan 1s out of like the nicest materials I've ever seen. And I was like, that's cool. And then I saw like what he would charge, and I was like, "That's not that cool."
It's cheap with the price.
It's rough. It's something that takes 20 seconds in a machine.
Oh, it's a labor of love.
And I have a video on our YouTube channel. It might be on our website too, but it's like a 9-minute and 20-second video of him lasting one shoe. Right, just the left shoe, 9 minutes and 20 seconds, something that usually takes 20 seconds. So it's a labor of love for sure.
So you talked about you almost got ran over by Bernard Langer.
Yeah. I'm quick though. He didn't get me.
So that kind of leads to my next question.
What shoes did you give him?
The Envy, the white and tan.
Okay. Not that was your question, but I was curious.
Yeah, no. So if you had that opportunity to do that again with any golfer, any athlete, like who would that dream, or not dream athlete, but who would be that like next golfer? If you're like, if I had a chance to meet that person, do the same thing, who would it be?
Please don't say Tiger.
Yeah, no, I'm a big MMA UFC fan. Right?
I'm a huge MMA fan.
Okay, nice. Yeah. I've done martial arts since I was a kid, right? And I just remember going to getting the VHS tapes in 1993 and watching, UFC and but
it's a VHS tape.
I'm just kidding. I was going to say, it's all there.
Daniel Cormier is in golf now, right? And he's super big into it, and it does not look great. And so I think our shoes could help. So
that's a really good answer. I like that.
I know on him and see his just reaction, right? I mean, he's a lifelong athlete that would feel it immediately and he'd go, "Holy cow!" Right? So that'd be a really fun one for me personally.
That's an awesome. I know him and Justin Gaethje are always kind of going back and forth. So that would be. I know he's out of Colorado.
Got one up on Gaethje, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very cool answer.
Did he just get knocked out?
He did.
Oh
that
my
was
God! Yeah.
UFC 300 was.
Left. 1 second left.
That was probably one of the greatest.
The dude with the wings, right?
Max Holloway. Yeah, that was one of the greatest knockouts of all time.
Clearly, I don't know much unless
that was still
unless it's like Adesanya or Sugar Sean. I don't know much.
or Conor McGregor, probably. Right?
Conor McGregor.
Oh, I know Conor.
Yeah, he's coming back. That'll be
it was so iconic because Max was already winning, and then called him to the center of the octagon with 10 seconds left.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Come on, let's do it.
It's like the guy that's already winning is saying, "Let's do that," right? And
yeah,
so
you don't see that.
No.
Was Conor fighting the wing guy?
No. He's fighting Michael Chandler in June 29th. So
that guy.
Yeah. So cool. That's a great answer. Don, I'm gonna let you ask this one because this is always like your good one here.
So it's hole 1. You're attending our shindig in July.
Yep.
What is your walk-up song?
Oh, whoa. That's
Didn't see that twist, did you?
No, I didn't see that one coming. Oh my gosh.
No judging here. You can answer with whatever genre of stuff.
Also, for people attending the shindig, we're not doing walk-up songs.
That would be so cool, though.
Do you know how much work
it would be tough.
Planning?
Yeah, it would be tough to do that.
One person would screw it up.
Maybe like a team song though, like a group when they come up there, they can do that. That'd be a little easier.
Everybody
that'd be pretty good.
Pink.
Yeah,
I'm kind of a metal fan, right? So I do love Avenged Sevenfold. So it'd be probably go like the Stage or something like that. Something that has a cool like
something to get you jacked up.
Yeah, I think so.
Ready to hit at 320,
and then you just hit a drive with these things on.
Yeah, throw my back out at the same time.
Instead of mic,
you're too amped up.
Instead of mic drop, you actually just unlace the shoe, just drop it on the ground and walk out.
There you go. But yeah, it'd be probably something like that. Something that has a really cool build to it, and then like when the beat drops, it's like that's when you hit. That'd be pretty cool.
Okay, I don't know if this really would be much something that you'd really enjoy, but like let's just kind of going back to like if you could give this to an athlete or get somebody wearing these shoes. Yeah. If you could have these shoes in a specific golf club or golf course, which golf course would you like to have these displayed in?
Man, another good one.
These things in Augusta where nobody can see it.
Yeah, get them white and green.
Yeah, right.
Yellow
where people actually see it. Yeah. We're working on Silverleaf here, so part of that focus and reality. Like Silverleaf is a very nice, exclusive club here. I like to see it there. But yeah, Augusta is kind of like the no-brainer.
It's kind of a no-brainer, right?
For sure.
That would be cool. Do you plan on doing like any like themed stuff for like some companies do like major theme?
Hear me out. Okay.
Yeah.
White.
Yep.
White, green, bright pink.
That would be so cool.
Bright pink. Okay.
Yeah.
For the azaleas.
Yeah.
Super interesting. Oh yeah. I like that.
Because we don't
cool
do
about
green
that
and yellow.
Though, is that we can do mixtures of colors, right? So we can do green chunks, black, white chunks, pink chunks in there. Like we can really mix it up.
That'd be
cool. We just don't do green and yellow together.
We have this conversation because we're from Minnesota, so
colors, right? You can't do that.
Yeah, that's the downside with the Masters. The Packers just doesn't hit us.
I don't own anything Masters really. It's the funniest.
Yeah, we actually work with local artists here. And so all of our custom ones, like we have like a wave edition, a camelback, so like a flamingo one. We've done Masters ones.
Sick.
And they look really, really cool. And they take forever too, right? Sure. The process on that, it's like you got to strip the color off of it and the waterproofing layers off of it, and then prime it, and then paint it, and then top coat it, and it takes
a long process,
a long time. Yeah,
well, we are well aware.
Yeah,
but they look really, really cool. So we've done quite a few custom ones. Yeah,
very cool. Okay. So this is the last question, and it's a food related question. You can ask it however you like to, my friend.
You say that, but you never point out which question I'm supposed to be asking.
This is a food question, I said. I was just saying, like, you can ask whatever food question you want. Typically we end on a food question.
So I was not allowed to go to Arizona during our last shindig. So I wasn't. Okay. Yeah, that was a whole thing. Derek's like, no, you stay home.
That is not true. Don't be blaming me for that. That is all you and your work, not me. Don't put that on me.
If we're ever in the Mesa area, where should we go out to eat?
In the Mesa, make it a little easier on me. Like the Phoenix area, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like just that metro area. I hate to blow that spot up because it's already getting ridiculous. But there's a place called Glybon, and it's a Thai food, but like specifically like a street food Thai spot. Yeah, it's fantastic. and it's so hard to get into now. I mean, I think USA Today just did a thing on it saying it's
really?
like the best on the West Coast or something like that. So it's amazing.
Once that happens, it's kind of like you're done.
I was totally hoping you'd be like, go Bell.
It was already tough, right, to get in there. It's like the word was getting out, but now it's like, forget about it. It's ridiculous.
Well, man, it's been a pleasure to have you on. We really appreciate taking the time, and hopefully we can have you on again down the road when you got a couple other new releases. And
yeah, like I said, got 3 things coming out that we're really, really excited for. Yeah, I'd love to chat with you guys again. You know,
absolutely, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Yeah. Take care. Have a good night.